Oh man, oh man, we got a doozy for you today, ladies and gentlemen. Hey there, guys, what's up? My name is Hayden McKenzie. Welcome to episode 9 of With Hayden. So, in today's episode, we are going to be discussing the Snyder Cut. Holy shit, this is a day that I never thought would come. The Snyder Cut is an extended cut of the 2017 film Justice League, directed by Zack Snyder and technically by Joss Whedon. But we're not going to get to that right now. We'll get into that in a minute. That's going to take a very long time to unpack. There's a few things that I want to talk about first. Now, first of all, you may notice that this episode is a couple of days late. Typically, I release these episodes on Fridays, but yesterday, I'm recording this on Friday, yesterday, which was Thursday, James Gunn, good old James Gunn, tweeted that a trailer for the Suicide Squad was going to come out today, Friday. So I figured I would wait just so I could talk about that trailer and release this episode a little late so that way it could still be relevant. So I guess we can talk about that first. I watched the trailer and it was interesting. If there was anyone who could bring a good style and bring some sort of quality to the Suicide Squad name, it would definitely be James Gunn. I'm sort of uneducated in his filmography. I've really only seen the Guardians of the Galaxy films, although I did watch Brightburn, but I believe he only produced that. I didn't care for Brightburn at all, but the Guardians of the Galaxy films are exactly what I would want out of a Suicide Squad film, and that is just a cast of characters who aren't necessarily good people, but, you know, lighthearted, fun, comic booky, violent. I love that shit. And I especially love when a movie with comic book roots like Guardians of the Galaxy takes advantage of its heritage, of its history. And that's definitely what it seems like this new Suicide Squad film is going to do, which I very much appreciate. Now, then again, that is exactly what I thought with the original Suicide Squad trailer, because if you remember that Bohemian Rhapsody trailer, the one with the song Bohemian Rhapsody, that trailer still kicks ass, man. I mean, they show all of the best action scenes in the whole film in the trailer. It's exactly what my Mortal Kombat video is making fun of, and that's sort of what turned me off of getting excited for movies just based off of trailers, because there's definitely been some really good trailers for some really shitty movies. So yeah, I'm taking this with a grain of salt. The trailer itself was very entertaining, very good. It sets a tone that I hope the movie will actually deliver upon. But that being said, I'm going in skeptical. Optimistic, but skeptical. Yeah, but just to talk about the trailer, the visual style of the film is a total overhaul of everything that was in the original film. You can actually see what's going on. As it turns out, David Ayer, when he was shooting Suicide Squad, he forgot to wipe the spilled coffee off of the lens, and then in some scenes he just forgot to take the lens cap off. So, you know, it's pretty rough trying to, you know, figure out what the fuck is happening in that movie. But this movie looks a lot more visually coherent. I love James Gunn's style of shooting action, especially in Guardians Volume 2, I want to say. Just very vibrant colors, very coherent action while still being, you know, large scale, and there's like a geography to every scene, which I can really appreciate. But yeah, we'll see how that goes. Now, in other news, I think this happened maybe 2 weeks ago now. The 2021 Oscar nominations were released. So I'm going to go ahead and just recap those real quick. I haven't seen most of the movies that are on here because I've been very inactive in terms of watching new movies, at least in 2020. I guess just because of the pandemic, I was depressed and indoors, so I was really just revisiting a lot of stuff that I'm familiar with. But I hope to watch at least the Best Picture nominations before the Oscars, which I don't even know what day it is, but we'll get to that. So yeah, let's just look through these right now. We'll be going in some sort of order. Actor in a leading role, we have Riz Ahmed for Sound of Metal. Haven't seen it. It does look very good. I'm definitely looking forward to seeing that. Chadwick Boseman in Ma Rainey's Black Bottom. I did watch that. I don't know if I liked the movie necessarily. I think when it comes to Ma Rainey's Black Bottom, I think it was an awesome movie that is about an hour too short. The film is only like 90 minutes or something. I feel like it easily could have been 2 to 2.5, and I would have loved it. But otherwise, Chadwick Boseman did an amazing job. Also, Viola Davis did a phenomenal job. Yeah, really great film. I would watch it again. I probably will watch it again before the Oscars. But yeah, next up we have Anthony Hopkins in The Father. I haven't seen it. I don't have any opinion on that. Gary Oldman in Mank. He did do a very good job. But if you go back to my Mank review, which I believe was episode 3 of the podcast, I sort of acknowledged the fact that a lot of Gary Oldman's performance was, it seemed like he was sort of like, it was the first Oscar bait performance that I've seen in a movie, which doesn't make a whole lot of sense, I know, but that's just sort of what it felt like to me. That very long monologue at the end felt like it was something that was written just to be the clip of the film that they show at the Academy Awards. So yeah, it was a good performance. It just felt like he was trying specifically for this. And then Steven Yeun for Minari. I do want to see Minari really bad. Is it Minari or is it Minari? I don't know. We'll go with Minari. I do really want to see that. I don't actually know where to find it, actually. I don't know if it's online or anything, or if it's in theaters. Who knows? We'll figure that out eventually. I am definitely going to be seeing that before the Academy Awards, though. Actor in a supporting role. We have Sacha Baron Cohen for The Trial of the Chicago 7. Again, haven't seen it. Daniel Kaluuya for Judas and the Black Messiah, which I watched, I think, the first 45 minutes of that movie, and then my internet went out, and I just never finished watching it. Now it's off of HBO Max, so I will find a way to watch that before the Oscars. I really, really loved what I saw. It took me a little bit to get into it, but after like the half-hour mark, I was really invested. Leslie Odom Jr. for One Night in Miami. Again, haven't seen it, but it's on my watch list. Paul Raci for Sound of Metal, and Lakeith Stanfield for Judas and the Black Messiah. Now, this is confusing, because both Daniel Kaluuya and Lakeith Stanfield are both nominated for Actor in a Supporting Role. But I feel like they were both leads. Shouldn't one of them get lead actor and one of them get supporting? Should they both be nominated for lead actor? I don't know. It's confusing. Actress in a leading role. Viola Davis in Ma Rainey's Black Bottom. Andra Day in The United States versus Billie Holiday. I haven't even fucking heard of that. So, you know. Vanessa Kirby in Pieces of a Woman. Which is on Netflix. I should get around to watching that. I remember seeing things for it when it was released, but I never got around to watching it. Frances McDormand in Nomadland. I watched the last like 20 minutes of that. I went downstairs and my family was watching it. What I saw of it was very good. I definitely need to watch the full thing. And Carey Mulligan in Promising Young Woman. I do want to see Promising Young Woman. I was actually going to go see that in a theater at one point, but I didn't quite feel like driving 60 miles to see a movie that I didn't know if I was going to like or not. So, actress in a supporting role. We have Maria Bakalova for Borat's subsequent movie film, Delivery of Prodigious Bribe to American Regime for Make Benefit Once Glorious Nation of Kazakhstan. I don't know why they put the full title in there, but yeah, Borat's subsequent movie film. It was funny. I think a lot of the comedy was very reliant on the sort of like Orange Man bad type of humor, which I've just fucking despised for the last 5 years. Don't get me wrong, I really don't like Donald Trump, but I feel like there's a difference between making good jokes about him and making really stupid jokes about him. And a lot of the comedy in Borat's subsequent movie film, while it is topical, I feel like it sort of falls into that category. And it's also so topical to the point where I feel like it's going to be pretty dated pretty quick. Whereas a lot of the comedy in the first Borat is not entirely specific to the time when it was made, just sort of specific to American stereotypes and cultural stereotypes in general. And things like that I feel like still sort of are resonant today. But yeah, Maria Bakalova did a good job in that movie. I don't know if it's Best Actress in a Supporting Role worthy, but Yeah, it's just weird to see Borat get nominated for Oscars. It's just proof of what little came out this year. Glenn Close in Hillbilly Elegy, haven't seen it. Olivia Colman in The Father, Amanda Seyfried in Mank, and Ya Jung Yeon, I am so bad at pronouncing names, I'm so sorry, in Minari. If I had to pick one, it would be Amanda Seyfried in Mank. She did a good job. In fact, she did a very good job. She really just stole the scene in every scene that she was in. And I really appreciated that. So yeah, I guess I'd have to go with Amanda Seyfried for that one. Animated feature film. We have Onward, Over the Moon, a Shaun the Sheep movie, Farmageddon, Soul, and Wolfwalkers. The only one that I have seen in this list is Onward. I watched it in theaters right before the world ended. And yeah, it was okay. I mean, it was... it's probably not something I'll ever want to watch again. But yeah, I mean, I enjoyed it while it was on, you know. I think I gave that either a 5 or a 6, one of those. I really do want to see Soul. I still haven't gotten around to it. I will see it eventually. Cinematography. Judas and the Black Messiah, Mank, News of the World, Nomadland, and The Trial of the Chicago 7. My picks for those would be either Mank or the 20 minutes of Nomadland that I saw. Yeah, I think both of those movies were very beautifully shot. Mank just has the sort of pull of the just the time, the period piece aspect of it, although I feel like that might fall more into production design. But shooting it in black and white, I don't know if they shot it on film or not, and having the little markers in the corner every time a reel ended, that was nice. But again, I don't know how much of that ties into cinematography. Judas and the Black Messiah, what I saw of it was also very good looking, very well shot. So yeah, I don't know. And then I haven't seen the other films. Costume design, we have Emma, Ma Rainey's Black Bottom, Mank, Mulan, and Pinocchio. First of all, they made a fucking Pinocchio movie last year? What? I didn't even know about that. Yeah, I guess for this it'd either have to be Ma Rainey's Black Bottom or Mank, because it was impeccable in both of those films. Both the costume design and the production design in both of those films was amazing. I haven't seen Emma. I think it's on HBO Max, so I might get around to watching it eventually. Yeah. Best directing. Another round, which I really, really want to see. Mank, Minari, Nomadland, and Promising Young Woman. The only one of those films that I've seen all the way through is Mank, and it was good. It was David Fincher's obviously been a very solid director for a very long time. By the way, I watched Zodiac like a week ago. What the fuck, dude? That movie was incredible. Okay, Zodiac was an awesome movie. That might be one of my favorite Fincher films, honestly. Yeah, loved that movie. But anyway, if I had to pick, it'd be Mank, but that's just because that's the only film that I've seen. I'm really excited for another round, though. Best documentary feature: Collective, Crip Camp, The Mole Agent, My Octopus Teacher, and Time. Haven't seen any of them. I'm sorry. Documentary short subject: Colette, A Concerto is a Conversation, Do Not Split, Hunger Ward, and A Love Song for Latasha. Again, haven't seen any of them. Film editing: The Father, Nomadland, Promising Young Woman, Sound of Metal, and The Trial of the Chicago 7. Man, I just haven't seen any of those. God, I'm really behind this year. I'm sorry. Last year I had seen like every Best Picture nominee, but I guess not this year. International feature film: Another Round, Better Days, Collective, The Man Who Sold His Skin, and something I can't pronounce. Kovadi Aida? Maybe? I don't know. Now, I haven't seen any of these, but if I had to predict, I'd say it'll probably be Another Round, because that was getting a lot of buzz, I remember. And I haven't really heard much of the rest of these. Makeup and hairstyling, we have Emma, Hillbilly Elegy, Ma Rainey's Black Bottom, Mank, and Pinocchio. Again, I'd probably go for Ma Rainey's Black Bottom or Mank, because both of those did a very good job in those respective categories. Original score: Da 5 Bloods, Mank, Minari, News of the World, and Soul. Now, this is where we're going to be getting into some of the snuffed films of this year. First of all, Da 5 Bloods deserves either a Best Original Screenplay, if it is an original screenplay, Best whatever screenplay it is, and best cinematography, I think. Maybe even best directing. It at least deserves a nomination in those categories, but so far I'm pretty sure Da 5 Bloods is the only nomination, or music is the only nomination that Da 5 Bloods got, which is very upsetting. And also, I'm thinking of ending things should have fucking sweeped this year, but it didn't get a single nomination, which pisses me off. Like, best adapted screenplay should have fucking won. Best directing should have fucking won. Best picture, even. I'm thinking of ending things was without a doubt the best film that I saw last year. Yeah, totally got snuffed. Music original song. Fight for You, Hear My Voice. Oh wait, I should probably list out what these are from. Fight for You from Judas and the Black Messiah. Hear My Voice from The Trial of the Chicago 7. Husavik from Eurovision Song Contest, The Story of Fire Saga. What? And Scene from The Life Ahead, not The Life of Head. And Speak Now from One Night in Miami. I haven't heard these songs, but the fact that Eurovision Song Contest got an Oscar nomination, and I'm thinking of ending things didn't, pisses me off. But yeah, and finally we have Best Picture. So, or I guess it's not final, so you know what, we're gonna go through the other ones first, because I like suspense. Production design, we have The Father, Ma Rainey's Black Bottom, Mank, News of the World, and Tenet. So, that's interesting. Tenet did have really good production design. In fact, I think that might have deserved a Best Cinematography nomination, because that movie looked beautiful. And then we have Ma Rainey's Black Bottom and Mank, which, those are the two, like I said, they definitely deserve. And then I haven't seen anything else on here. Short film animated, we have Burrow, Genius Loci, If Anything Happens, I Love You, Opera, and Yes People. Yeah, haven't seen them. So, short film live action, Feeling Through, The Letter Room, The Present, Two Distant Strangers, and White Eye. You guys aren't going to believe this. I haven't seen any of these. I'm sorry. I don't pay attention to Oscar buzz, and I definitely should. Sound. Greyhound, Mank, News of the World, Soul, and Sound of Metal. What? Wait, I thought there were two different sound categories. Isn't there sound design and sound mixing? What? Okay. Mank had a very interesting sound to it. I think it fit the period very well. And other than that, I don't know, because I haven't seen the rest of them. Visual effects. Love and Monsters, The Midnight Sky, Mulan, The One and Only Ivan, and Tenet. The only film I've seen on here is Tenet. I watched like 15 minutes of the live-action Mulan. Didn't care for it. It also looked like shit, so I don't know why that's on there. Tenet. Yeah, I'd have to go with Tenet. I see like a Blu-ray for Love and Monsters at Walmart every time I go to Walmart, but other than that, I don't know anything about it. Best adapted screenplay. I'm having a lot of trouble talking today, I'm sorry. Borat's subsequent movie film, The Father, Nomadland, One Night in Miami, and The White Tiger. Now, I'm going to be basing this off of what my dad said. My dad did not like Nomadland because he read the book that it was based off of, and apparently it had a lot more to do with other people than just the one woman that Frances McDormand plays. Yeah, I don't know. I haven't seen the whole thing and I haven't read the book. But the one that seems most likely to win is either Nomadland or One Night in Miami. Best Original Screenplay. Judas and the Black Messiah, Minari, Promising Young Woman, Sound of Metal, and The Trial of the Chicago 7. Would probably go to Sound of Metal or Minari, I think. Those seem like the most likely ones to get it this year. Alright, so now we have Best Picture. So for Best Picture, we have The Father, Judas and the Black Messiah, Mank, Minari, Nomadland, Promising Young Woman, Sound of Metal, and The Trial of the Chicago 7. So if I had to go from the films that I've seen, it'd have to be Mank. Yeah, I don't know. I guess, I mean, I didn't care for Mank all that much, but it's the only film on there that I've seen, so I have to pick it. Yeah, Mank is my pick. And that's the Oscar nominations this year. Now, when are the Academy Awards this year? April 25th. That's the same day as my prom. So, I guess I'll be missing the Oscars. Well, I'll look at the results the day after. But yeah, those are the Oscar nominations for this year. I guess now we have no other choice but to get into Zack Snyder's Justice League. Oh boy. Jump cut. Sorry, ladies and gentlemen. I was very thirsty and I wanted to get a drink. So, yeah, now we come to Zack Snyder's Justice League. I'm going to talk a bit about the theatrical Justice League first. I tried to rewatch it before watching the Snyder cut, and I got about 40 minutes into it before tapping out. I've seen this movie once. I watched it in theaters the day it came out, and I wasn't like offended by it upon initially watching it, but as time went on, I grew to just absolutely despise it. And watching it now, yeah, it's fucking impossible to get through. I actually, one of the first reviews I ever wrote on Letterboxd was for the theatrical cut of Justice League, which, let me find this because it's pretty funny. Okay, so I wrote a Letterboxd review for this film sometime in early to mid 2019, and this is what I had to say about it. It reminds me of those commercials for Call of Duty games with real actors. Half of the movie takes place in a simulated environment, and not a very good-looking one either. This, along with Godzilla 2, actively gives me a headache. Yeah, and that pretty much stands true, although that's also a problem with the Snyder cut that we'll get into in a minute. So yeah, Justice League, the 2017 theatrical cut, 1 out of 10. I'd give it a 0 if I could. The Snyder cut. I've seen this movie twice. Not because I liked it, but because I watched it the first time and retained almost nothing about it, so I watched it a second time and took notes. Yeah, it's I'll give a simple bottom line right now. It's okay. You know, it's alright. There's parts of this movie that I really fucking loved. I got down with them really hard, which we'll get into in the review. But yeah, I'm gonna be doing this this review the same way that I did my Wonder Woman 1984 review, and that is taking my list of notes and going one at a time down the list to sort of work through the whole movie. And considering that we're already 20 minutes through the podcast, something tells me this is going to be a very long episode. Okay, so to start off, the film starts with a sort of reskin of the ending of Batman vs. Superman, where Superman sacrifices himself to do something. I don't remember anything about Batman vs. Superman, but this version of the scene is amazing. It's really good. I think it serves as a great opening credit sequence, very great compared to the opening of the theatrical cut. It also it establishes a lot of things about the plot very well instantaneously. So this is going to be full spoilers, by the way, so you've been warned. Basically, Superman dies and he's like yelling, he's screaming in pain, and his screams send shockwaves around the world. And these shockwaves affect the 3 mother boxes that are in 3 different locations, which is the big plot MacGuffin of the film. And one of the shockwaves awakens the mother box in the hands of the Amazons, aka Wonder Woman's people. So yeah, everything about this scene is really, really just phenomenal. From the sound design to the score by Junkie XL, he did a totally new score for the film. And it's both good in some parts and bad in some parts, but we'll get to that later. Yeah, this whole, I guess it's the first 8 minutes, is very well done, and I really love it. Like, I could pull that up on YouTube and just watch it. But yeah, the sound design, there's a shot of the camera is soaring across the ocean, and you see the shock waves, and with each new shock wave comes this sort of like distorted, resonating version of Superman's scream, which sounds fucking terrifying, but it gives the scene this sort of like very eerie, epic quality to it. That's the thing. This movie feels very important, but it really isn't. Anyway, yeah, opening credits are great. However, it is here that I instantaneously notice the 4:3 aspect ratio. I did not see the point in it. I know people are saying that it was meant to show the full IMAX aspect ratio, so it gives more room on the top and bottom. And sure, it does in some scenes, but the film was not formatted in IMAX, nor was it shot in IMAX. So this 4:3 thing just sort of seems like pretension and Zack Snyder's hubris. It seems like literally nothing but that to me, and the fact that Zack Snyder wanted to make the film in black and white too is another perfect indicator of that. Yeah, I don't get it. Zack Snyder is very far up his own ass, and yeah, that's evident in a 4-hour superhero movie. But anyway, this movie split into chapters. It's 6 chapters in an epilogue, or I guess 6 parts in an epilogue, and I don't really understand why. I think part of that was because they were originally going to release this as a miniseries rather than a full movie, which I actually think it would have worked better as a miniseries. But yeah, it's in chapters, and the chapter system is very jarring, but it does give you a nice halfway point since it's 6 parts. You can just stop at the beginning of part 4, get up, take a piss, get a snack, and continue after that. I wish there was an actual designated intermission, or if it were just chopped up into episodes, because 4 hours is too goddamn long for Justice League. I don't know about anybody else, but I really felt the runtime both times that I watched it. Yeah, not the biggest fan of that. The dialogue is very stilted in this scene. This scene, I should explain. So after the opening credits, we cut immediately to the scene of Batman, or I guess Bruce Wayne, trying to recruit Aquaman, because he, in Batman vs. Superman, was told by Lex Luthor that some threat is coming to Earth, that they're in trouble. Okay. And Batman is trying to recruit a team of metahumans and superheroes and what have you, just to sort of be prepared for it. So he doesn't know about the existence of the mother boxes yet. That was obviously the threat that Lex Luthor was talking about. But this scene is better than its theatrical variant, where Joss Whedon incorporates like 4 jokes mid-scene, and you can like tell when the reshoots were and stuff like that. But yeah, the dialogue is very stilted and reliant on sounding weighty and like badass and cool, when it really just isn't, you know? Like, the characters look cool, I guess. Jason Momoa looks cool. He's a hunk. But, you know, it doesn't mean what he's saying is automatically cool. And he doesn't look badass for saying wordy shit. Yeah, I don't know. It doesn't sound real. I'm not expecting movie dialogue to sound real, but it doesn't sound good either. So, Batman tries to recruit Aquaman. Aquaman is like, no. And just outs him as Batman, outs Bruce Wayne as Batman in front of this whole Icelandic village. Just like the guy oh my god, I can't fucking talk today, I'm so sorry. Just like the guy said, we're poor, but we're not stupid. You just called the richest man in the world Batman. Anyway, after that, we cut to a scene of Lois Lane going to the memorial for Superman. I believe it's either a memorial for Superman or the people who were killed in Metropolis when he was fighting Zod. It's one of those. I don't know which one. There's a bunch of names on like sheets of rock, so I would assume it's that. And Lois Lane brings coffee to this monument, I guess, and just sort of looks at the monument. She does this frequently, from what the dialogue implies, because she is still mourning the loss of Superman, because obviously she was dating Clark Kent. And this is a great scene. It is a very good scene. The music elevates the imagery perfectly. It's almost like poetic in a sense, which I know sounds pretentious as fuck. But there's a great video about this. I can't remember who it's by. Yeah, it might be Nerdwriter. I think it might be Nerdwriter. But Zack Snyder is so much more interested in filling his movies with solitary good moments. Okay, so think of a movie like Watchmen, right? That film can get pretty fucking boring at times, but there's scenes like the sequence, the comedian's funeral, with Simon and Garfunkel playing, or the opening credits with Bob Dylan playing, even the Philip Glass scene with Dr. Manhattan's origins. Great fucking scene. And I don't think Watchmen is a bad movie by any means, but the fact of the matter is, there's these really great moments, almost like music videos, just serving as like some sort of connective tissue for a pretty boring ass movie. And that's the same with almost all of his movies. I think it's the same with Batman vs. Superman. I haven't seen Man of Steel since it came out, so I remember pretty much nothing about it. But it's the same with this as well. The scene where Lois Lane brings coffee to the Metropolis Memorial. There's a scene... Oh god, I can't remember. Oh Christ. Fuck me. I guess the Cyborg's origin scene is also very interesting. But everything in between is just characters sort of like standing around in a very uninteresting way, talking about what's happening. And it's like, okay, are you dedicated to making a movie, or are you dedicated to making like 5 or 6 music videos with 3.5 hours of filler in between? It's just the way that Zack Snyder shoots dialogue and everything else is not interesting in the slightest. Even the way he shoots action is pretty bland at times, unless it's like hyper stylized like Watchmen, which it very often isn't. But yeah, he's so much more dedicated to providing these good moments than making the whole movie like that. Which, I mean, if the whole movie was like that, if the whole movie was like great moments, but, you know, with information being put across, I'd love it. I'd fucking love every movie Zack Snyder has ever made. But unfortunately, that's not the case. He is just dedicated to doing dumb shit. Yeah, so after that, I believe we cut to the scene with Wonder Woman saving the bank. Is it a bank? I don't know. It's somewhere in France. But there's these terrorists who are trying to blow up 4 city blocks. This is a scene that was in the theatrical cut. And it's actually surprising to me to see how much of Zack Snyder's stuff was actually in the original Justice League. And also how much of Joss Whedon's shit was in there too. Jesus Christ. But yeah, it's I guess it's an okay scene on its own, at least until it starts to go on for too long. And yeah, just really okay. There's something that I noticed the first time I watched this, and I didn't know if I was like, you know, fully aware of it. But yeah, the way that Wonder Woman moves really fast to block the bullets, like with her arms flailing around and shit, is so funny, and it looks so stupid. People are saying that's like the best scene in the movie. It's not, man. I'm sorry. Well, you can think that if you want. I guess different strokes for different folks. But that was just the dumbest shit in the world to me. So that scene happens, I guess, sort of to just set up Wonder Woman's character. And yeah, I guess this is where I sort of start to get I start to have a problem with the score by Junkie XL. It's very repetitive. Very repetitive. I don't know if he just incorporates the same themes a 1,000 times, or if they just keep on reusing songs. But there's just, I don't know, there's this sort of there's this one I had subtitles on. It plays whenever Wonder Woman is on screen. It's not Wonder Woman's theme, but it's like it's it's in my notes right here. Ancient lamentation music. Like, it's very obnoxious to hear, to listen to the first time I heard it, and it happens like 50 fucking times throughout the whole movie. And it's supposed to be like, oh, that's badass, look at Wonder Woman, and this cool yodely type music is playing. And yeah, no. No, it's annoying, and it doesn't make it look cool. In fact, this is like that kid. This movie is like that kid who like smokes cigarettes and skateboards around, and like this movie is trying really hard to be Bender from The Breakfast Club. You know what I mean? Just like, yeah, I'm dark, I'm different, I'm scarred, man. I've had a past. You know, you don't want to fuck with me, bro. It's like, shut the fuck up, dude. I don't I don't care. I don't care at all. And the score just really elevates that too, along with the faux weighty dialogue that I just fucking hate. Yeah, this is a great note here. Number 8 in my notes. The number of times I've seen ancient lamentation music plays is absolutely baffling. Yeah. So yeah, one thing to point out in this scene as well, I guess, is that this cut of the film is rated R. So there's F words, there's F bombs. The terrorists say, "Hey, sit the fuck down," and stuff like that. Don't fucking move. And there's also a lot of gore added to it, but the gore is all like CGI, and it's not. It's not. It doesn't look good. A lot of the CG in this movie doesn't look very good. So yeah, Wonder Woman saves the day. She like throws the bomb up in the air, and it explodes in the air. And this scene is extended to show Wonder Woman falling from the sky in slow motion, because Zack Snyder really loves his slow motion, let me tell you. And then there's one man left after the bomb detonates, and rather than Wonder Woman just like, I don't know, walking up and punching him, she fucking destroys like the whole floor of the building. Like, rubble goes flying everywhere, probably killed a couple of civilians. They probably got crushed by rubble. And it's like, this is the exact same thing that people were complaining about in Man of Steel. How the heroes just had no concern for the environment around them. They just destroyed buildings, probably murdered innocent civilians in the thousands. And it's just like, oh my god, what the hell, dude? You're supposed to be saving the world, not fucking destroying it. So yeah, Wonder Woman just destroys this wall, and it rubble goes fucking everywhere, which didn't happen in the theatrical cut. I think it's just Zack Snyder having a destruction boner or some shit. Yeah, I don't know. So then we cut to Themyscira, I believe is the name, the Wonder Woman island, where the mother box is open and the Amazonians are like watching it. And I appreciate this cut of the film actually giving context to why the mother box was open to begin with, because in the theatrical cut it just sort of cut to the Amazon island, and they were just like, "Oh, any changes to the box? No, it's open." Like, how'd it open? I don't fucking know. You figure it out. But yeah, I appreciate the biggest thing that this cut does is give a lot more extra background and sort of cohesion to the story. That being said, this movie's still a fucking mess. I think that a lot of this film is just scenes that don't really connect to each other, playing one after the other. There's like almost no establishing shots. You never really know where a character is. They're just like in a park. It's like, okay, where is this park? What are they doing here? Do they just walk here to talk about the plot? And when that's not happening, they're just in the fucking Batcave, and it's like, oh my god, I want to say a solid 90 minutes of this movie is spent inside the Batcave, and it's so much, man. It's so much. Yeah, I really need to start picking up the pace with this, otherwise this podcast is going to go on for 10 years. So the mother box cracks, it wakes up, and Steppenwolf comes in, and Steppenwolf has had a total stylistic overhaul. He looks totally different, and he looks way cooler, I'll give it that. But one problem with this is that it seems like most of the money and time that the reshoots and everything that was put into the Snyder cut, it seems like majority of the money and time spent went into redesigning Steppenwolf, because he looks the best out of any CG in the entire movie, even stuff that was finished fucking 4 years ago. And yeah, as a result, everything just looks very plasticky and very unpolished, and I didn't dig that very much. So Steppenwolf comes in, and he destroys the he tries to take the mother box, and the Amazons are like, "Hey, no," but there's a big fight scene, and he ends up taking it anyway. So basically, this scene was about 6 minutes in the theatrical cut. Now it's about like 12 or 15, I think. And that's a perfect indicator of what this Snyder cut brings you. Sure, it gives you a lot of great character development and a lot of great background to the story, so you can actually understand what's happening. But at the same time, fucking hell, man, it's too long. It's too long. I mean, I doubt I'm the first one to say this, but it's too goddamn long. I think this movie really would have been like great if it were 3 hours instead of 4. In fact, if you cut out all the stuff that I personally didn't like, trimmed down the final battle a bit, and kept in all the scenes that I loved, put this out as a 3 hour, 10-minute movie, it'd be fucking great. I'd be giving this movie a fucking 8 out of 10. Like, honestly, I don't understand, like, how we got both polar opposite extremes. We got the movie that was way too short and didn't explain everything and was really bad, and then we got the movie that was way too long that has literally every single scene that was ever shot for the whole movie. It's like, this is a work print. This is a fucking work print. Like, think about the 5-hour bootleg work print cut of Apocalypse Now, okay? That is not a good movie, because that movie was never meant to go to theaters. There's a great video by Folding Ideas about the Snyder Cut, and how if this film were released as a work print, it'd probably be more interesting rather than a finished film. But what they did was they essentially made the work print a finished film. Like, this movie includes literally everything, which is why it's so goddamn long. And the fact of the matter is, the reason that a work print exists is because it's literally everything. And the director or whatever creative team there is needs to go in there and figure out what to drop, what to get rid of, because there is a lot of this that could be cut out. And so releasing this full-length work print movie and calling it a finished movie is just, it doesn't make sense. And I come back to the work print of Apocalypse Now, because the reason that that was never released on DVD, the reason that that's a bootleg, is because that's not the finished movie. Sure, Apocalypse Now has like 4,000 cuts to it, but each cut is a finished movie. Each cut leaves the stuff that they didn't want in there. It leaves it all out. Because the thing with Apocalypse Now is that they shot like 200 hours of footage and then cut a movie together from that. The script of Apocalypse Now is like what the Snyder Cut is, because I've done a lot of research on Apocalypse Now. If you look up Apocalypse Now, you look into the story of it, Francis Coppola told the writer, write down every single scene that you've ever wanted in this movie, and we'll film it. And they filmed everything. They filmed a million different things, not everything connected, and as a result, you had a 200-hour movie that you could whittle down into something that was mildly watchable. And that's why there's so many different cuts of Apocalypse Now, because there's an infinite amount of footage to recut forever. However, those cuts are still recuts. It's not just the blank slate version of the movie. And the reason for that is because the 5-hour cut of Apocalypse Now is unwatchable. It's too long. There are too many plot threads. There's too much going on. It's too long. It's unbearable, okay? Apocalypse Now is a great movie, but the 5-hour version of that film is not good. And the 4-hour version of Justice League is not good. A 3-hour version would have been just fine. I'm repeating myself a lot here. I gotta move on. Oh, man. So they fight with the Amazons, and Steppenwolf gets the first box. One thing that I should note that wasn't fixed about Steppenwolf in this cut of the film is his mouth movements still look really weird. They don't quite match up with his voice, and it's kind of strange. Yeah, much better introduction to the mother boxes in general, by the way. Oh, I should note how we get introduced to them. So one of the Amazon ladies, I don't know who, I don't know their names, shoots a fire arrow into an ancient Amazonian ruin, and that's like the warning fire that shit's gotten real. So Wonder Woman sees this, and she breaks into the ruins and finds this like crypt area, and she puts the fire arrow in this hole, and it opens up a room with like ancient paintings on it that shows the 3 mother boxes, because as you know, thousands of years before, Darkseid came trying to get the boxes, trying to wipe out Earth. And so, you know, it's all it's all well and good. Much better introduction than in the theatrical cut, where Batman just blows up a parademon and there's just 3 box shapes on its back for whatever reason. I mean, what the fuck was that about? But yeah. I want to take a minute to talk about the cinematography. Zack Snyder knows how to shoot certain films. I don't know if he knows how to shoot comic book films, because the fact of the matter is his visual style is very dark, very gloomy. It's always raining. It's always nighttime. You know, everything is very blue and gray, sort of shades of concrete, right? So if you mix that with the 4:3 aspect ratio, every single shot of this movie looks like a spacer photo on some like dumb basic white girl's Instagram. I mean, it's a specific reference, but you'll get what I mean if you know what I'm talking about. So yeah, basically Wonder Woman learns about the mother boxes, and she goes to Ben Affleck's cave, or the Bat Cave, the Ben Affleck cave, and talks about it with him. So this is an hour into the film, and we get this long, I want to say like 10-minute long backstory about the first time Darkseid came to Earth and tried to get the mother boxes, and he sort of just failed, because that was when the Atlanteans and the Amazons and the men all worked together, and Green Lantern was there too. Yeah, this would be a really cool scene if Gal Gadot wasn't narrating the whole time, because I'm sorry, Gal Gadot's not a great actor. I know I said that in my Wonder Woman 1984 review. She's not a great actor. Everything that she says is just sort of without emotion, and her reading off like the backstory in voiceover during this fight scene is like, it sounds like the opening to, like, I don't know, a 1990s RPG game. And the fight scene would have been way better. This backstory scene would have been way better with no narration. I at least think so anyway. So Darkseid came to Earth, and he failed to get the mother boxes, and so the Amazons took one, the Atlanteans took one, and then the men buried one in the middle of nowhere, which actually turned out to be Nazi Germany, I think is what is revealed later. Or at least it got dug up by the Nazis. So yeah, at this point we're about an hour and 15 minutes into the movie, and this is right when the Flash shows up. The Flash is not in the movie at all for the first hour and 15 minutes, okay? And Flash gets a totally new introduction scene. In the original, oh god, I can't remember exactly. I think he's going to visit his dad, and he like draws on this dude's face really fast, and it was really stupid and didn't make me laugh at all. And so in this new introduction scene, he's applying for a job at a pet shop, walking dogs, and he uses his super fast Flash powers to save a girl from a car accident. And it's a cool scene. It ties into the thing that I was talking about earlier, with Zack Snyder being very interested in having good moments in his film rather than just having a good film. It's this long, sort of like 4-minute slow motion sequence with this very emotional, sort of sappy song playing overhead, and it's nice. It's cool. It's a good scene. And then he feeds a hot dog to the dogs, and it's cute. But one thing that I was amazed by with this film is actually how much lighthearted comedy was actually in Snyder's original version. Because every other film he's made is just so joyless. Like, I thought most, if not all, of the comedy in the Joss Whedon cut was him. But as it turns out, Zack Snyder was actually on top of this, man. This is definitely Zack Snyder's funniest movie, I think. Apart from Batman vs. Superman, which is funny for very different reasons. But yeah, there's a lot of jokes that actually stick the landing in this. One that I can think of is Barry Allen is talking to Cyborg, and he's like, "Yo, do you think Wonder Woman would go for a younger guy like me?" And Cyborg says, "Barry, she's 5,000 years old. Every guy's a younger guy." That made me lose my shit. That's a great joke. Yeah, so that Flash scene is great, at least until it starts going on for too long, like Zack Snyder does. And then, yeah, it was okay. And so now Steppenwolf, he has one of the mother boxes, and he's going to this nuclear city that you see in the theatrical cut. However, the family that lives there is gone from the movie entirely, which I very much appreciated. because that drove me up the fucking wall with how pointless it was. But yeah, he uses the mother boxes to like FaceTime with this guy named Desaad, who is the heir or like right-hand man of Darkseid. And basically Steppenwolf's whole story has a totally new look to it. Because now Steppenwolf, instead of just being some big bad guy who wants to terraform Earth, Darkseid wasn't even mentioned in the theatrical cut. He is now a servant of Darkseid who failed him once before, and the reason that he's doing this is to sort of regain his trust and regain his, I guess, whatever the fuck you call it, his appreciation, if you will. And that was cool. I think it's good to give your villain depth, because having a depthless character that you're supposed to be like afraid of is not, it doesn't work. For example, every single Marvel villain from 2008 to 2015, yeah, just sort of like two-dimensional villain of the week type thing, and that's definitely what Steppenwolf was in the theatrical cut. But he's definitely not that here. He doesn't quite have as much development as someone like Thanos, but he has enough to the point where, you know, you sort of understand his motivations. You understand why he's doing it. It's not just world domination, but you know, he's actually he's just trying to. He's like a servant. He's simping for Darkseid, and he wants Mommy Darkseid to notice him, senpai. Yeah, God, I fucking hate myself. So Steppenwolf goes hunting for other mother boxes, and he tries to find the one with the Atlanteans. There's a scene on shore where Steppenwolf is like pulling Atlanteans onto the shore and like interrogating them. And this is a great scene. It looks beautiful. Steppenwolf is very intimidating, but one thing that I don't get is that the Atlanteans can breathe above water, which they can't do. They even say that they can't do. The reason that Arthur can breathe above water is because he's half-breed. And like in Aquaman, the Aquaman movie, which I watched just before watching the Snyder cut the second time, like there's like the Atlanteans, and they have like water helmets, and they broke the helmet and the water came out of it like SpongeBob. So I don't get that at all. It's just a little bit of a plot hole. Yeah, so then we finally get introduced to Cyborg, which is like an hour and a half into the movie, which I was fucking astounded by. And this is like a 15-minute long sequence that was just dropped from the original film, which, I mean, I don't even understand how that happens. Cyborg's character is definitely the one that got gutted the most in the theatrical cut, I feel. So this new introduction and sort of building his character is really cool. And the way that it portrays his abilities is very interesting. Rather than like just telling him what he can do, it actually shows the audience an example of him using his powers, which is like, oh wow, not an exposition dump in a Zack Snyder film. I never would have expected that. Don't get me wrong, there's still a fuckload of exposition in this film, but that's a whole other thing. So yeah, after that, Bruce Wayne meets Barry Allen, which was like 30 minutes into the theatrical cut. It's now an hour and a half into the Snyder cut, and the scene is totally different. It's shortened a bit because all of Joss Whedon's shitty jokes are cut out. And yeah, this is also another moment where I didn't quite realize just how much comedy and humor was actually in this this version of the film. Because there's the one joke where Barry Allen is like, "What's your superpower again?" "Oh, I'm rich." You know, like, that was funny. I thought that was a Joss Whedon add-on, but no, it wasn't. It was Zack Snyder. And it is in that moment right there that I am pissed off with the Junkie XL score, because, oh my god, man. Again, he is so insistent on being badass and being cool. So it's like there's like this like distorted sort of like grungy typo negative like bass line in every fucking song. It's like do 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 do, and it's like, man, I don't. It's not cool. It's not cool. It doesn't add anything to the scene. It's just like, oh, hey, that song's kind of stupid. Yeah. Now, I'm all for long movies, you know? I'm all for them. But the fact that the Justice League doesn't even get formed fully until, like, nearly 3 hours into this movie is a perfect indicator of how long is too long. You know what I mean? Like, this movie doesn't even start until the 2-hour mark. And it's fucking obscene. It's absolutely fucking obscene. Yeah, here's a note that I wrote, number 27. If the parademons are following the scent of the mother boxes, could they not just follow the scent of the actual mother boxes as opposed to the people who have just been around them? I mean, yeah, because Steppenwolf told them a dozen times, follow the scent of the mother boxes. It's like, the mother boxes have probably got a smell, right? Obviously, that's what you're chasing, so obviously the smell has to be coming off of them. Just go straight to them, bitch. God. 1 hour and 50 minutes into the movie, there's a conversation between, oh god, was it Mira? I think it was Mira and Aquaman, about King Orm, which ties into Aquaman, the movie. And I just think it's really funny how they're set up for a movie that that came out 3 years ago. I just think that's really funny. A lot of this movie is just setups for movies that have either already happened or have been totally discarded. Yeah, I don't know. It's kind of fucking hilarious. But so Steppenwolf comes to Atlantis finally, and about an hour and 50 minutes into the movie, that is, and steals the second mother box and kicks the shit out of Aquaman and everybody. And this is when Aquaman decides to help. This is another great addition in the Snyder Cut, because this scene was not in the theatrical cut. Actually showing Aquaman get motivation to help the Justice League is cool, because in the theatrical cut, he just kind of shows up. He said, no, I'm not going to do it. And then he's like, okay, fine, I'll do it. Like, you know, it doesn't make any sense. But here, we actually get some sort of meat with our potatoes. So now we cut to this big fight in the, what is it, the fucking sewer? No, it's like a tunnel between two cities or something. I don't know. I don't fucking know. And that's where Steppenwolf is keeping people who know where the third mother box is hostage, including Cyborg's dad. Because I don't know if you know this, but Cyborg's dad had the third mother box in his apartment, and he got kidnapped. But luckily, Cyborg buried it in where his grave should have been, which is fucked up. But it was kind of funny. Yeah, so this big fight scene happens, and they get their asses handed to them, and they're like, hey, wait a second, we are literally fucking nothing without Superman. So they're like, okay, we gotta bring Superman back then. And the way that this... God, the way that this is all presented is so funny to me, because... Alright, I'm gonna take a break real quick because I've been talking for an hour straight. I need to clear my mind a bit before I get into this, because this is some bullshit. Okay, so it's been about 40 minutes or so. Ready to get back in the grind. So, where were we? Yes, so they fight with Steppenwolf, and they're like, hey, Cyborg has the third mother box, so technically we can just hide it from him, but we could beat him too. And we get this very long sequence discussing the power of the mother box, and fucking hell, this is where I tapped out of the movie, honestly, because this is about 2.5 hours into the film. Basically, they're talking about anyone with a match can burn down a house, or like turn a house into smoke, and but the mother box can turn smoke into a house. And then the Flash goes, you know what that means, right? And a hologram of Superman is just projected above the mother box, and it made me want to crawl out of my fucking skin. Like, Jesus Christ, it is so on the nose. So they bring Superman back, which I want to say happens maybe an hour into the theatrical. Happens about 2 hours and 40 minutes into this. And the fight scene in which Superman comes back and beats everybody up is very interesting. That was my favorite part of the theatrical cut of the film. Because if you ask me, that should have been the whole movie, is just bringing back Superman. But instead we got this boring-ass plot about Steppenwolf and mother boxes, which is boring no matter how much you add to it, I should note. We'll talk about that when I get into my final thoughts of the movie. So they bring Superman back, and Superman is angry, and he beats them up, and it takes Lois Lane coming up to Clark and literally yelling Clark at Superman in front of police officers and fucking military personnel. It's like, cool, so now all of these fucking people just know Superman's true identity, I guess. Like, what, are you stupid? I don't even know, man. Oh, I should note, the way that they bring Superman back, if you've seen the theatrical, the Flash has to touch the mother box the very second it hits the water. Okay? Now, in the theatrical cut, they're sort of like, oh man, this is a very big thing, we have to do it first try, as though they can't just get the box out of the water and do it again if they don't make it. But what this film introduces, which is something that was entirely absent from the theatrical cut, is that if Flash runs at faster than the speed of light, he can like turn back time. So that's what he does here. The box hits the water like a few seconds too early, but Flash goes super fast and turns back time so the box is out of the water, and then he touches and it all happens. And that's interesting, and it actually has a huge impact on later events of the film. So they bring back Superman, and the mother box just gets shot out of the sky and lands in a parking lot somewhere. And the whole gang just totally fucking forgets about it. Just totally forgets about it to go say hi to Superman. Don't even go and try and secure it, even though you've literally awoken the mother box, and so Steppenwolf knows exactly where it is. Cool, dude. Fucking whatever, I guess. And obviously that has consequences, so Steppenwolf just comes to the mother box at the end of the scene, and he just takes it, but it results in the death of Cyborg's dad, because I think what Cyborg's dad was trying to do is he was trying to like superheat it, I think, and then that would like destroy it. I don't really remember. He was trying to destroy it, I know that much, but yeah, Cyborg sort of takes that same idea and is like, okay, we need to go to the city in Russia and get rid of the boxes. But we can't do that without Flash or Superman or something. And Superman just isn't there. So for majority of the final battle of this film, Superman's just like fucking around on a farm somewhere. Until finally he comes back. And this is where we have the most mixed bag of a final battle in the history of cinema. So in the theatrical cut, the final battle was very, it seemed very misguided, it seemed very mixed up, and as a result, I just sort of totally checked out, my eyes glazed over, and it's very much so the same here, except for that there's a few little moments that are actually pretty cool. There's no Superman and Flash like taking care of a house, because now they actually have something to do. They the Flash turning back time thing is reincorporated into the film here in the final act, and as a result, Flash has to like do a bunch of laps and create a certain amount of electricity so Cyborg can fuck up the boxes or whatever the hell he's doing, and however, he gets shot while he's running super fast, and it breaks his stride. So he's not running fast anymore, and he's wounded. So what he does is he runs at the speed of light, because as he starts running again, Steppenwolf activates the, what the hell do they call it, the Unity, and the world literally starts turning to dust right before everyone's eyes, and it starts getting evaporated, and everyone's like, oh no, oh god. But the Flash turns back time in order for it to stop, and then produce the electrical charge to make it all okay again. So that's really cool. That was a really neat moment. It only lasted about 5 minutes out of a, I want to say 35-minute final battle. But everything else is just kind of, man, I don't like the way Zack Snyder shoots action. I think a lot of his visual style in terms of actual camera work is very bland. It's all just sort of like crane and dolly shots, not really anything too extreme. In fact, I think there's one handheld shot in the entire film, and when it happens, it's very jarring. It's a cool shot. The camera like flips upside down and looks neat, but everything else, the movement is so fluid and steady and smooth. So everything looks like a fucking shampoo commercial. You know, it's all very, as I said, very fluid, very commercial in a sense. And what doesn't help that is that the entire thing looks fake. I want to say a solid 90% of the movie is computer graphics. Basically, yeah, every single fucking room that they're in, every single villain, it's all CGI. Every single character's suits depends heavily on CGI, and you know, it all doesn't look very good at all. Especially like on screen with these real actors. You know what I mean? Yeah, the one area, the one moment that it stuck out to me in was at the very end of the film. Well, not the very end, but like at the end of the film, when Wonder Woman beheads Steppenwolf and it cuts to Darkseid's lair. Literally, the whole area is computer generated, and so is Darkseid, and so is Desaad, and every single person is just a CG character, and it doesn't look bad, but none of it obviously looks real because it's CG. And I just it all looks very rubbery, very plasticky, and I don't dig that. So yeah, I mean, I guess if I don't want that, I shouldn't be watching superhero movies, but you know, so maybe it's my own fault. But anyway, the Justice League saves the day, and they're all lining up, and it's a very cool, epic moment, and it fades to black, and that would have made a pretty good end of the movie. But instead, there's a 25-minute epilogue. This is 3.5 hours into the film. There's a 25-minute epilogue where everyone's character is sort of just being rounded up, and you know what? It is. I'll give it this. It is a very. It's a satisfying enough send-off, at least until the last 8 or so minutes, because there is the whole epilogue with Cyborg's dad narrating. And there's the final shot, which I believe was the final shot of the theatrical, where Superman opens up his suit and you see the Superman logo, and it's like, oh, hell yeah, and then it cuts to black. That would have been a great ending. But instead, instead of having like a post-credit scene, it plays all the post-credit stuff before the credits. And it's very jarring, and it ruins the whole movie for me, in my opinion. So it shows the Deathstroke Lex Luthor thing that was in the theatrical cut, and that was stupid. But then we have the scene with Jared Leto's Joker. You know, I really wanted to give Jared Leto a second chance as the Joker. I did not like him in Suicide Squad. It's probably one of the worst performances I've ever seen on film. It sucks. That whole movie's terrible, but Jared Leto really is the turd icing atop the shit sandwich. So man, he's so goddamn stupid, and the whole sequence that he's in is pretty stupid. It's like a continuation of the sort of like post-apocalyptic sequence in Batman vs Superman, where Batman is like wearing a trench coat and it looks really dumb, and that is sort of Bruce Wayne is sort of seeing into a possible future of what would happen if Lois Lane died. So if Lois Lane died, Superman would then be like, he would go like evil and destroy the whole world. And that's sort of what that vision is representing, because at the end of this scene in Justice League, Superman finds Batman and everyone that's all in that group and gets very angry. So that's sort of what that scene is, and I guess that's supposed to be like a setup for a later movie. I don't know. I don't know, and I don't give a shit either. But what we're trying to talk about here is Jared Leto as the Joker. The dumbest shit in the world, and what they have kept fucking teasing since Batman vs. Superman in 2016, 5 years ago, is the Batman and Robin subplot, which, what the implication here is that Robin is Batman's adopted son, and the Joker and Harley Quinn killed Robin. That would be an awesome fucking movie. I would watch that in a heartbeat if Zack Snyder wasn't the one directing it, that is. I would watch that in a fucking heartbeat, because that is like an iconic storyline, okay? But all they've been doing is just alluding to it. Oh, little, hey, you remember when this happened? Hey, you remember when this happened? No, I don't, because I didn't watch the fucking movie, and I wish I did. And he keeps, the Joker teases to that. They tease to it in Suicide Squad. They tease to it in Batman vs. Superman, and it pisses me off. But yeah, the Joker's performance in this movie is dog shit. He says something about giving Batman a reach around, which, whatever. I mean, alright, I guess I don't expect anything more. You want the Joker to be funny, but you also want him to be menacing. But when he's funny, when he's trying to be menacing, it's not how that works. It's not good. Yeah. So Ben Affleck wakes up from his nightmare and goes outside and meets Martian Manhunter. Oh fuck! I completely forgot about like one of the biggest things that this movie was setting up. So somewhere hidden on Earth, Steppenwolf finds what is called the anti-life equation, which is the key to complete dominance of every species in the multiverse, according to Steppenwolf. And that's what Darkseid wants to come to Earth to find now, since Steppenwolf failed to terraform it with the mother boxes or whatever. And that was supposed to be set up for what I can imagine would be Justice League 2. Yeah, it's probably never going to happen, so, you know, there's no point in me really theorizing about it. All these movies were canceled years ago. But in this final scene, which they shot in the middle of the pandemic, by the way, so Ben Affleck looks very different. He meets Martian Manhunter, and Martian Manhunter showed up earlier in the film in just like this one-off scene with Lois and Martha. And yeah, I was like, okay, I didn't really know who it was at first, but I was like, oh, alright, it's Martian Manhunter. And he shows up at the end to say, hey, I'll help you guys when Darkseid wants to find the anti-life equation, okay? And Batman's like, okay, cool. And then he flies away, and that's the end of the movie. Yeah. So there's a lot to talk about here. If you're asking me if Zack Snyder's Justice League is better than the theatrical cut, I would say that it is. However, I still don't think it's very good. As I said before, there are parts of this movie that I really, really loved. I enjoyed immensely. But there are also parts of this movie that I thought were tremendously boring and stupid and dumb. And the last 15 minutes of this movie definitely ruined the rest of it. So, you know, there's that. The last 8 minutes with Joker and Martian Manhunter could easily have been a post-credit sequence. You know, it easily could have been a post-credit sequence. And it just throws off the mood of the whole ending. It's so tacked on, and it's terrible. That's the worst part of the movie for me. The rest of the movie is pretty bearable. It adds a lot more depth to the characters, which was definitely needed in the theatrical cut. But it also adds a lot of shit that didn't need to be in there and definitely could have been cut out. So, yeah, ultimately, I gave Justice League a 1 out of 10. I'd have to give the Snyder Cut a 5 out of 10 because it is right down the middle for me. I liked just as much of it as I didn't like. And, yeah, that's the Snyder Cut. Fucking hell. If you were to ask me what's going to come next in the DC EU, I have no idea, man. I don't care either. I'm so fucking tired of superhero movies. And it seems like the market is too. That could just be because of the pandemic, but a superhero film hasn't come out in 2 fucking years. And you know what? I'm happy for that. I am very happy for that. I don't want them anymore. I'm sick and tired of them. I'm sick and tired of it being all that I have to fucking talk about as well. Because any movie that comes out nowadays, if I want to talk about new movies, it has to be like shit like, oh, Zack Snyder's Justice League, Wonder Woman 1984. I'm not going to be talking about Black Widow. Fuck you. I don't want to watch it. But yeah, that's this, ladies and gentlemen. This has gone on for a very long time. The way that I see it right now, we are at 1 hour and 16 minutes roughly. Okay, well, that's it for this episode, ladies and gentlemen. In the next episode of With Hayden, we're going to be talking about Godzilla vs. Kong. And hopefully I can have a very special guest spot on that episode. I want to do that episode with my buddy Tristan. Me and Tristan watched the Snyder Cut together the second time. I also watched it with my girlfriend Jada the first time. But she was asleep for about half of it. I don't blame her for that. I would have slept through it if I had the choice. But yeah, next episode we're going to be talking about Godzilla vs. Kong. I'm excited for it. I'll put it bluntly. I'm not expecting like high art or anything, but I love smashy crashy bullshit. And considering how god awful Godzilla King of the Monsters was, I'm sure this movie will be just fine, right? Right? Thank you guys for listening. Leave a like, comment something, anything really. Leave a recipe for something. I need to do a bit more baking and cooking, so leave me some recipes down in the comment section below, and I'll definitely write them down. Thank you for listening. I'll see you all in the next episode.